Hey guys, welcome back. So this is what I believe to be a John Deere, I think it's a 4200 subcompact tractor. And as you can see, this thing has been sitting for a long time. So we're on an old driving range here. This driving range was abandoned for about 15 years and someone just bought it. This tractor was left on the property and they want to either see it run, sell it, or just move it out of here. So that's why I'm here. We're going to try and see if we can get this thing going. This tire is pretty low and it's got a lot of dry rot and cracking in it. The top looks good and it does have some air in it. These front tires almost look brand new, but they are completely flat. They had this tarp over it. It had literally trees growing out of it, but they have somebody that's been mulching this whole area. You can see where the old tree line was right here. This was all grown over this tractor, but they went ahead and cleared a lot of it. So as you can see, it has this cab over it, and that is to protect it from the golf balls hitting it. It has this old plexiglass windshield that it doesn't look like it's too see-through, except for maybe in this one little area there. So it does have a 3-point hitch, but one of the arms is completely MIA. But other than that, it looks to be decent. We have a little bit of oil leaking out of the PTO there. So we'll take a little closer look inside the cab here. As you can see, this hood is completely smashed up. And it looks like this relay panel, fuse panel, is opened up there. I don't know if somebody was trying to do something in there. So we don't have a key for it, but I might have a set of keys that will work. We'll have to see. I think this is a little cover here. Looks like we have old cough head in here and some other junk. Oh, looks like we have some more stuff down here. Yep, I'm sure they find a lot of those. All right, let's get this cover off. Well, it looks like we found the pilot of this tractor. Hey, buddy. Is your name Franklin? All right, we're gonna set Franklin back here in the woods where he belongs. See you later, buddy. Well, it looks like we have an old bucket of oil or something down there. And I also see a can of starting fluid in there, so that's not always the best sign. All right, so let's go ahead and check some of the basics on this thing. See if it's got any oil in it. Well, it's dripping something. Oh wow, the oil is, well, actually that is diesel fuel. It looks like either somebody put complete diesel fuel in this thing or it's leaking in the engine somehow, because we have fuel all the way up to here. So that engine is slap full of diesel. So it looks like it has this mechanical fuel pump right here, and that is probably our culprit. These have a rubber diaphragm, and if that diaphragm goes bad, it will leak diesel into the engine. So we'll either have to replace that or maybe bypass it and put an electronic fuel pump on there. So let's take a look at this air filter. The air filter looks almost brand new in this thing, and it even has the backup pre-filter. That's a good sign there. See if we got any fuel. Good gosh, that thing is tight. We got any diesel in here? Nope, it is completely dry, which I'd expect because how full the engine is. So I might have to change the oil on this thing before we attempt to start it. Let's see if the engine spins over though. I'm just gonna try and spin the fan here. Oh yeah, it spins over. It's kind of crusty, but okay. Oh, it just stopped. Yeah, it's spinning. The crank is turning down there enough at least. It looks like some of our ball joint ends here are completely shot. And it looks like this steering cylinder hasn't moved in years. Yeah, and that's not a good sign either. I think we have to have hydraulic pressure though, but that thing is just spinning like something's messed up. I know in all my other tractors, if you turn it you'll at least have some clicking resistance, but there is no resistance on this at all. I gotta be careful working on this thing because you can see all the golf balls here. There's been a lot of golf balls that have been flying by. This one actually just rolled up right here, so yeah. All right guys, so we're gonna take a quick break from the project to say a word from today's video sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the largest online therapy provider in the world with a mission to make getting started in online therapy easier. They can match you up with a licensed professional therapist that can help you through a hard time in a convenient online format in the comfort of your own home or when you're working on a project like this. Getting started with BetterHelp is extremely easy. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire and they will match you up with a licensed therapist in a few days. And don't worry, you can switch therapists free of charge at any time if you don't think it's the right fit. So I do get a lot of therapy just hanging out here at the water, working on projects, but sometimes it's just nice to have a professional to talk to that is trained and licensed that will listen and give a unbiased opinion. So what are you waiting for? Go to betterhelp.com or click the link in the description to get 10% off your first month of therapy. That's betterhelp.com or click the link in the description to get 10% off your first month of therapy. So thank you BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to work. So I have this ring of keys. Not sure if, no, it's just spinning the whole thing. This thing is pretty broken under here. I wonder if I can just pull it out. Let's try a couple more keys here. Well, this one fits in here, but tell if it's turning. Yeah, at least plastic covers in here. Yeah, it looks like we got some kind of bird's nest under there. It doesn't show how many hours without the battery, and it looks like the battery is missing. So we'll have to get a battery for it. All right, let's see if we can just take this cover off. This plastic key thing just literally broke apart. Alright, so this key actually works. It was just kind of seized up a little bit. Alright, so yeah, that should be our glow right there. That's our start. I got a battery here. Let's see if we get any lights on the dash. Man, that battery tray is shot. Okay. All right, so it says 6,658 hours. Okay. I'm sure we have some kind of safety engaged right now. So I might just have to be sitting in the seat. Okay, yeah, I'm hearing something now. Still nothing though. Get all this stuff out of here. I have all these levers, so those might be in the wrong spot. Hopefully there's no brown recluses in here. That one's kind of stuck. Alright, that one's moving. Alright, so we got a neutral right there, so let's put in neutral. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, we're good. That's all I want to do. I don't want to mess those rods up with all that diesel in there. Let's see if we can get some air in these tires. Oh, yeah, it definitely has a ton of diesel in it. Probably gonna need a bigger container here. Don't see any metal shavings, so that's good. All right, let's go ahead and get a filter on here. All right, there we go. All right, so it's pretty tough to get down to that oil fill cap. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and remove this intake and also this coolant reservoir. I'm sure we're gonna have to crack the injectors, so this thing is pretty closed in. Here's our coolant tank. So that's pretty cool. Instead of having glow plugs, it has a intake plenum heater right here. So that just heats up the air coming in the engine and starts it up. Get all this stuff out of here. Oh wow, how did this get back in there? Old golf ball. Okay, it looks like a face. Right, man. So there's actually two places I can fill the oil. I can fill it up top here or through the injection pump. I guess I'm just gonna fill it up through the top so oil can coat all the valves, but I mainly wanted to get to the injectors up here. So it actually looks really clean inside there. There's no rust or anything, so that's a good sign. For over 6,000 hours, this engine seems to be in pretty decent shape. Got the good stuff, T5 right here. All right, yeah, we are right on the money there. So I think the reason why fuel was getting in the oil was because of this mechanical fuel pump. So let's go ahead and get that replaced. I went ahead and picked up a new one here, and this plunger operates off the cam, and this is a diaphragm that I'm talking about. If that goes bad, fuel can leak through here, through this plunger and into the engine. I'm pretty sure that's where the problem lies. So I have this fuel line removal tool. Let me give it a try here. There we go. There's our fuel pump. This is where I should be wearing gloves because there could be a black widow spider lurking behind here. So we got our new lift pump here. spring reattached. Alright, so while we're here, let's go ahead and take a look at this fuel filter. Oh wow, that does not look good. Ugh. Yeah, that thing's pretty nasty. Let's see what comes out of here. Oh man, that is like nasty mud water. Ugh. That's not what you want going through your injection pump. So, see if I can get a new filter for that. Alright, so I couldn't find a new fuel filter in town, so I got one on order, but just so we can get this thing started, I'm gonna clean this thing out for now. And once that new one comes in, I'll install it. Man, there's all kinds of rust and everything coming out of here. Alright, I'll finish cleaning that and hit it with some compressed air, and we'll be good for now at least. Alright, so I got this filter cleaned up the best I can. When the new one comes in, I'll get it installed. Alright, so we got oil in it. Let's see if this thing will spin over now. Up. Well, all right, this thing seemed like it actually wanted to crank up, so let's get this fuel system primed, and I'm pretty sure this thing's gonna go. All right, let's get some fuel in this thing. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. It's 5 gallons of fuel right there. Alright, let's go ahead and crack these injectors. Oh, those are tight. Goodness. Okay. Let's go ahead and crack this fitting here as well. Alright, let's hit this lift pump and see if we can get any fuel. Alright, so our fuel filter's filled up, so that's good. Oh, starting to get fuel out of there. Wow, that is some dirty fuel. nasty. Let me get a container under there. Getting fuel there. Just trying to get some of that nastiness out of it. Get that tightened down. Alright, let's spin the engine over and see if we can get some coming out of the injectors. Yeah, it looks like we're getting fuel coming out of there. Nice. Alright, let's get these tightened back up. I'm gonna go for it. Alright. Alright, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and put this intake back on. That way nothing gets sucked down into the engine. Let's get some water in this thing. Alright, I think we are ready to fire this thing up. Fingers crossed. Man, I cannot believe it. That thing started right up. I mean, it probably didn't even turn over one time. It just fired up so easy. It does smoke a little bit, but I think that should clear up. I think that's just from it sitting. But I think we're ready to go ahead and see if this thing's gonna move. And maybe we can pull some implements with it. check our transmission oil. That doesn't look the best. Let's put a little bit of fluid down there. So it does have a sight glass here, and I believe we got fluid in there, but we'll do a flush on this thing later. All right, let's get some of these blackberry bushes out of here because I'm getting torn up by the thorns. So I found one of these plastic pieces where it says SST on it, and I believe that stands for shuttle shift transmission. So it still uses a clutch. It's not a hydrostatic, but it still is pretty easy to drive. So this is your PTO lever right here. Gosh, that thing is stuck. Alright, this is your 3-point. That moves alright. I'm gonna work with these levers, see if I can get them freed up a little bit more. So unfortunately, this thing has two pretty major issues. One, our radiator is leaking really bad up there. I knew when the radiator was empty that we might had a leak or something, so that's not good. but also the brakes are pretty locked up. I was trying to free it up going back and forth, but I mean it's pretty tight, so if you put it in high gear it will bog the engine down. Now it will pull it in middle and low gear, but high gear it just bogs the engine down. So the brakes are going to need some work, and also it's going to need a new radiator. So we can't run this thing for long, but let's see if we can take it for a little ride around here and maybe pick up some golf balls. So all these ball picker-upper things, they're all probably seized up and everything's pretty messed up here. They actually have some new ones coming in, but I'm gonna see if I can actually get these to work. It's missing the baskets or whatever go in here to catch the balls, but I wanna see if these things will actually spin and if this thing will actually pull it. It seems like the brakes are starting to free up a little bit, but they are definitely still not completely free. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but Well, all right guys, this thing is actually running pretty good. The radiator, it's definitely slowed down or stopped leaking. There's still cooling in there, and the temperature has actually been staying right in between half and right here. So the gauge works, so it's not overheating or anything, especially if you drive it, you know, pretty easy. But for just cruising around picking up golf balls, I mean, the thing's working pretty good. So I'll probably go ahead and get a new radiator for it. We'll probably get some covers for it and everything, you know, a new hood and side panels. All that stuff's missing. I'm sure a bunch of golf balls hit it and destroyed the brittle John Deere plastic. This stuff is really thick under here, but all the other stuff is pretty thin. So this little contraption actually works pretty good. If there was a way to catch the balls, or you had some baskets to put in there, you could really pick up all the balls out here pretty easily. The guy that owns this place, he actually bought like a really nice new set of these things, so these are pretty much just gonna get thrown in the trash. But other than that, this is a pretty good tractor. It still needs a little bit of work, but one thing I really do like about this tractor is these tires. I mean, they're not really that good for, you know, like front end loader work, but for cruising around, that is probably one of the smoothest riding tractors I've been on. It also has that suspension seat, so that helps out a lot. But man, those balloon tires, I think offers a really enjoyable ride. So I don't see any leaks anywhere else besides the radiator, and like I said, we'll get a new one of those. So this cage is actually designed pretty well. I mean, it does get kind of annoying getting in and out of it, but to stop the golf balls, this is perfect. It does need a new plexiglass up here because that thing's pretty hard to see out of. I did get hit by a couple golf balls while I was driving around there, and I mean, this cage really protects you, but I'm sure one could go through that if it was flying fast enough. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. If you guys want to see a part 2 on this thing, just post it in the comments. But as always, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and fixing up this old John Deere 4200, and I will see you guys on the next video. So y'all take care. Later.